Hey everybody, it's Chris. I wanted to show you how I bead my badge reels. Let me kind of show you an example of what I'm talking about. So I did a video to show you how to do the topper with a print and cut sunflower from Zindee, and then this is just an example of how I like to bead the badge reels. And I know there were some questions on how do you get the beads on there, so I thought, well, maybe I would just do a quick tutorial for you to show you how that works as well. So I use the Specialist ID badge reels. I purchase them from Amazon. If I buy a box of 100, they are about 65 cents a piece, I believe, somewhere around there. I always check to make sure that they work. So I pull out the string to make sure that they do work, because every once in a while I get one that gets stuck, but it's very rare that I do. These are a swivel alligator clip on the back. So how I do this to get started is I'm going to take this little piece off here. So I'm just going to bend this little hardware out. We'll see how well I do at keeping this in frame so that you can actually see. So I'm just going to bend this out with my pliers. And I just need to bend it far enough that I can get this piece off. So there's my little piece. I'm going to set this here until I'm ready to put it back on. And then the next thing that I need to do is pull the cord out. I have this little clip that I purchased a whole package at Dollar Tree, and it works perfectly for this. So I'm just going to put this right on the end of the string so that it does not coil back up into the badge reel, because if that happens, then it's all done and this is what you have. So I saved that so I could show you, don't do what I did. I was trying to do a sample for someone and I wasn't even thinking. Okay, so now we need to get this little bead, or this little keeper, I guess, off of the end. So I'm just going to push the cord up through the end of the bead, and I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut the knot off the end of it. Okay, now this little keeper piece slides right off. I like to ream out the bottom of this little bead because I find that once I put my beads back on, it's kind of difficult to get the cord back through it. So I will set that right here, and it's so that it's ready to go for me. We are going to bead up this pretty little sunflower. I chose these beads to go with it. I thought they looked really pretty. And then I also have a rhinestone spacer bead that we're going to use as well. So I first put on my smaller bead onto the cord. So I'm just going to feed my little small bead on here. This is a crackle bead with the AB Aurora Borealis finish on it. I like to use different beads. If I use a crackle bead, then I want to use something different for my larger bead. The next thing I'm going to do is a spacer. And then I'm going to put on my little pearl bead here. Okay, so there are my 3 pieces onto the string. And then I like to trim this off again because it can fray a little bit as you feed those beads on. And then I'm just going to go back down through the hole. Sometimes I kind of wiggle the thread to get it through. And I'm going to double knot the thread at the end. I try to keep the knot as close to the end as I can so I'm not wasting very much of the cord, because I know some people do pull the cord out to actually badge in where they work. So I try to leave as much cord on there as possible, but there's quite a bit of cord on there, so don't worry about like people not being able to use it if you put beads on it. Okay, so now I just take my fingernails and I pull it as tight as I can. You can see I've got a little bit of a tail there. I'm just going to trim that a smidgen, but I don't want to cut all the way next to the thread. I want to make sure that I'm leaving a tail there so that if something happens, it's not just going to slip right back out again. And then I take my little keeper bead and I pull the knot through there. And then I can take my clip off. And then there are the beads on the reel. Okay, now I just need to put this piece back on. So I take my little handy dandy pliers and I put the hardware back through the keeper bead and squeeze it together, and it is completed. Okay, so I like to use dual lock Velcro for my badge reels. I use the low profile. So I cut about a 1-inch square. This is the 1-inch tape. And then I angle the corners on the piece that goes onto the badge reel, just so that it doesn't stick out beyond the circle. So I just peel this off. I find that this works really well, and this gives people an option of changing out just the topper for a different look. And honestly, I think to me it's easier just to do this than it is to try to glue the topper right to the badge reel. I know people sometimes have issues with that. So I just used the dual lock and it has worked really well for me. And then I cut another 1-inch piece to go on the back of my blank. I make sure that this is centered. You want to make sure that this is centered on the badge reel too, because if you place it too close to the top, it's going to be top heavy and it's going to tip on people. So I kind of learned that the first round that I did. So I just kind of line up. I look at the back to see where my Velcro's at, and then I kind of look at the front. I want to make sure that my beads are in the center of the badge reel, and then I just snap it down and you can hear it lock. So this little guy is ready to go for its new home. So super simple. I buy, some of my beads come from Zindee. I buy from Boutique Bead Supply. They are very nice quality beads. I also buy from Bumble Bead. I will say that I'm not sure that I love their quality quite as much, but they have very nice prices. So I'm just kind of careful about what I purchase from there versus what I get from Boutique Bead Supply. But I really think the beads kind of make it, and I really love to use pretty beads. I'm kind of a bead snob. I don't like to use just the plain colored acrylic beads. Like, they have to be pearl, or they have to have some interest to them, in my opinion. So so that's how you bead a badge reel. I will go ahead and link the video that I did for the print and cut, so that if you're interested in learning more about that, you can watch that video. If you haven't already done so, I'd appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. If you have any questions about what I've shown you, please leave a comment below and I'd be happy to try to help you through any issues that you're having. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.